All right, so the market just opened up and we're gonna see if we can make some profits today. The market overall seems to be kind of short. Yesterday's volume point of control was down here or up here. Today's is down here. We had some trading up here, but then we accepted these lower prices. Now we can see where we have potential resistance to the downside. Exactly here, to be fair. So I'm just gonna prepare myself a little bit for this trading session and see what's going on. Another potential level of resistance is most likely here, but I will double check this with a higher time frame in just a second. And then we for sure have some here. And these are just estimates, obviously. You always gotta see what's going on in the market at that given time. All right, let me switch to a higher time frame. Yeah, it looks pretty solid to me. All right, should be good. And then obviously we have some levels of resistance up here. In this area, so I'm just gonna mark this in as well. Perfect. And then we also do have some here at the higher levels. Here could be some smaller resistance. Gotta be careful a little bit here. It's a bit better up here. And that should do it in terms of the volume profile analysis for today's market, at least for now. In general, I'm looking for shorts because as far as I can see, the market is pretty short. I'm gonna prepare a trader weight. I'm gonna trade with 2 contracts today, and we're gonna see what we can pull out of the market. For now, it's just a waiting game, seeing what the market does at these price levels. But once we see some volume building down here, we know that a short is pretty obvious and a breakout is imminent. So we're just gonna wait for now. We use Bookmap to find very solid entries and exits, obviously. But this looks pretty bearish for now. But we never know, because usually the US session is a bit different to the Asian and European session. So you just gotta be a bit patient and see what the market gives you. But as soon as we see some volume building up here or down here, we can pretty much predict a reversal, a breakout with high accuracy. So let's just wait. And I'm just so you know, I'm talking about an actual like bump here in the volume profile. It needs to be like a solid bump, not just like what we currently see. This is starting to look like it a tiny bit, but we're gonna see like a true bump here. So there's actual volume down here, which means obviously price acceptance. You know, lower prices are being accepted, and if we see this at this level of interest, that's a very nice sign. Potential breakout setup. We can check the order flow. For now, some absorption here on these levels, so the market is probably not gonna break through. This was an interesting level for yesterday, so let me just gonna delete this. All right, there's some trading going on here. Now this is going to get a bit more interesting. All right, but we need to push through this level here, the 50, which is down here. And if we can push through this level, then we can potentially have a solid breakthrough all the way to this level here. But for now, like I said, it's just a waiting game. Now, if you're a bit impatient, you could potentially look for an entry somewhere here. Just a scalp trade, scalp it somewhere from this level here all the way down there. However, that's a risky trade as the volume profile doesn't really show you some good entries here, because you always want to trade from these levels of interest here at least, and this for sure is not a level of interest. This is just a level of interest in terms of price action, but not in terms of the volume profile. And you don't want to be a price action trader, as this is usually not the most profitable way to trade. And like always, once we find an entry, we're going to manage it actively. So we're going to look for a nice take profit level, but we're also going to look for a solid stop loss level where we know that the market, well, if the market and the price reaches that specific level, then our trade idea is just simply not valid anymore. So that's what we're going to look out for. And usually we do that either using the volume profile as well, or just using Bookmap, all right? So for now, nothing interesting. It's just a waiting game and seeing what the market gives us, right? Here, if you've never seen Bookmap, we can see a couple of interesting things. You can see liquidity down here, but also up here as well. You can see long-term liquidity, which is in the books for a longer period of time. Short-term liquidity, which just came in basically. This, for example, was also short-term liquidity. You can see these bubbles, which in this case here is aggressive buying, which is market buying, or here market selling. Okay, so these are aggressive sellers, these are aggressive buyers. Then you here have passive buyers in form of liquidity and passive sellers in terms of liquidity as well, just either here on below the current price or above the current price. You can see a couple other things. For example, auction quality, like the way the market trades into a specific level. For example, here the auction quality was quite bad. Now we got to pay attention a little bit to a few things. For example, speed, auction quality. Auction quality is not the best here. However, speed is picking up. We're trading into the level of interest now. We want to see the market push through this level now with high volume, but the volume is not enough now for me at least to enter a breakout trade. So we're going to wait for now. And going back, there we go. Looks like we just broke through the low of the day. Perfect. And now it's going to get very interesting. Now we want to see if we can see an absorption coming in, because if we see an absorption, that is our entry signal. I'm just going to zoom in a little bit. That was a bit too much, to be fair. Usually this is level of resistance. Previous liquidity usually acts as a level of resistance. This is interesting now. All right. I'm just going to wait for now, because this wasn't enough. I want to wait a bit further, But once we break through here, this could become a nice and solid trade. But for now, we just wait. All right. I'm trying to enter here. And hopefully we get filled.
Order filled.
We just got filled. We're in our position. Stop loss is most likely above this level here. So that's the 54. We need to buy it back, obviously, and take profit. Should be somewhere probably down here. We're going to check for the take profit, obviously, in just a second, if it's actually a good level in terms of liquidity, but also in terms of the volume profile. So that's 25 here. I put it at the 30 so we can lower it a little bit. Yeah. And once we see the market push through quite a bit, then we can, oh, there we go, move our stop loss to break even. Yes. Perfect. All right. $200, 300, 400. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Almost hit us take profit. Boop, there we go. Secure some more profits. The market is having some difficulty down there. I'm gonna secure some more profits, and we just got stopped out for a pretty solid scalp. We can see here the volume profile looks pretty good here. We had an absorption here, so the market couldn't push through here anymore for whatever reason. So we just got out of our position. So there was actually a picture perfect exit, to be fair, like a picture perfect exit. And now we're just gonna wait a little bit. All right, the market just came back. Interesting. So we rejected those prices quite heavily. Now absorption here at this level. Kind of missed that, to be fair. Huge, huge absorption. It's actually a solid entry. I'm gonna try to get in. All right, the market didn't feel me. Was actually that was a solid trade. Missed that one. So the market absorbed here. We are short anyways. The only thing that made me a bit nervous was we're at this high volume area right here, which isn't too bad, to be fair. And now you can see the market just moves down. So I missed that trade at least. Was a very solid entry if I actually went in. And now the market's just pushing through. So that's annoying. However, it's fine. And now the market has room to go all the way down here. So we just wait for now. 800s. There's some liquidity. Yeah, so right here is some good level. But we're fine. To be fair, I had a very awful that wasn't great, to be fair, in terms of management, because I had two pretty good trades. I should have been more aggressive with my entry on this one here because the absorption was pretty obvious. We are short overall, so I should have entered just market here and had a 58 to 08, so like a 100 tick trade, which would have been like $1,000 roughly. So that's a bit annoying. However, it's fine. Here is another level of resistance now. Previous liquidity. Some heavy trading here, some absorption. Because the bid here was just like 11 or 12 contracts, but we had 274 contracts traded here. So there was definitely some level of absorption, which now acts as a level of resistance, just so you know. However, the ideal entry is somewhere obviously here, but we're going to see what's happening now. If we see another absorption coming in, then that might give us another entry, but we got to be careful now as we are near to this point of interest. And at this point of interest, there's also some liquidity. So this is definitely a level where we got to be cautious, and you don't want to enter a short trade or a breakout trade right before or in front of that level, as there's just some crazy resistance going on, right? You can see the market is kind of fading out. It's kind of exhausting at this level. So we're probably going to see a pullback now. Some heavy selling coming in again. Liquidity just vanished. This is, for example, extremely bad auction quality. Just so you know, there was no trading basically going on. However, the market still went down. So that's not what you want to see usually, but you got to put everything into perspective, obviously. There's pretty much no liquidity up here, but some down here. So usually the market likes to trade where liquidity is. However, we see some crazy absorption coming in right now. It's not the best sign for a breakout. Because you see all this selling. Usually the market should just go lower by a lot. However, it isn't. Okay, so we got to be a bit careful now. But trading a reversal now would be risky anyways, because the overall market, the bias is short, obviously. So you got to be careful. And now the market just went through. So yeah, my entry was picture perfect, twice actually, but my exit was as bad as it can be, because I made like $250 or something, and this could have been a $1,000 or $2,000 trade easily, like easily. Here another level of absorption. However, the market pushed through, so there wasn't really an absorption. The market there was just a lot of buying coming in. This will be a level of resistance now, just so you know. However, I'm looking for some absorption at these levels now. That would be nice. Because I want to trade to the short side, obviously. We're going to see. The only thing that is interesting now is we came down hard. So this is an extended move, to be fair. Here we see some buying, aggressive buying coming in for the very first time, which is a change of structure, obviously. And now you also see that the price is making higher highs and higher lows. Also very interesting. So for now, we got to be a bit cautious because the market could potentially, just by the way it shows itself here, turn around. But this level will become very interesting now. Do we see some further buying coming in? And will the market push through this level here? If it doesn't, well, we obviously don't want to trade a reversal. Also, we have some volume coming in, which is usually a bearish signal. So you should probably look for shorts still, even though we had some aggressive buying coming in here. Now the market is just consolidating, so these higher lows were being taken out by this move to the downside here. So now it's just a waiting game. Again, like trading usually is. This is actually a nice level of absorption here, as you can see. So I'm gonna sell market.
Order filled.
And just got broken through, so you gotta be careful here. Previous level of at the 10s. So at the 10s you wanna buy because that's my exit. And the low of day roughly will be my take profit. But this is a C setup, to be fair, B setup maybe, because the absorption just got broken through actually. So I'm very cautious now, and I will definitely actively manage this, and also move my stop loss to break even quite quickly, to be fair, because this could actually push through any moment. Some absorption here. That's actually fine. There we go. Yeah, I like this trade. All right, good.
Order filled.
I'm done. Yep, 2 very solid trades. Could have held this one probably a bit further, but I didn't like it too much anymore because this level of absorption here just got taken out. So this was a bit risky for me, to be fair. Now the market might go lower and might not. Some very aggressive selling coming in. However, I'm happy with my trades today. $817 in profit in about, 25 minutes. So very solid. And that's it for today. Just trading the bias, trading with the help of the volume profile and some order flow. Pretty obvious trades, to be fair. I should have done 1.5 to 2K in profits today, simply because my entry here, and you've obviously seen this now, my entry here was picture perfect. However, my exit was as bad as it can be. However, that's trading sometimes. I still end up I still made $817.60. So I'm happy with today. And that's it for today, guys. So if you have any questions, let me know in the comments. Otherwise, if you want to learn how I trade with these setups and just by understanding why the market moves the way it does and why the market will actually, in this case, break out to the short side and where the market could potentially have a reversal and how we can profit from these tiny movements in the market, well, just click the link in the bio down below. You can book a call with me and my team, and we can see if we can help you and teach you all of these things. So without further ado, I'll see you tomorrow, and I wish you a good day, some happy trading, and I'll see you then. Bye-bye.